Attention to brief. Welcome to the briefing room. My name is Matt Bowman, and I'm your host. The briefing room is a show by warriors for warriors. I have a passion, and my passion is very simple. It is raising the bar. So on this briefing room show, me and my co-host, Dr. Tyrone Taborn, bring you the world's best thought leaders, the world's best CEOs, and the world's best military strategists and senior officials to help you raise the bar in your life. So let's get started. As always, we go around the world in 7 minutes. So let's start with U.S. Southern Command and the United States and the Caribbean. That is what has been in the news really since September, since the September 2nd boat strikes that killed 11 people total, including 2 survivors who were killed in follow-on strikes. What does that mean for us as military leaders? What does that mean for us as military professionals? You know, as you go through your training, through your different schools at the command level, at the O5 level, and at the flag level, you're taught about the laws of combat, the rules of combat, going back thousands of years of history, up through the Nuremberg trials, up through the International Criminal Court of today. So that activities, those strikes in the Caribbean continue to play out. Secretary Hegseth and Spec War Admiral have all briefed Congress. Admiral Halsey has also briefed Congress, U.S. Southern Command commander. And so over the following weeks, we're going to find out more information. But at the heart of the day, the question is the laws of combat. The laws of combat don't just apply to combat. The laws of combat apply in everything that you do in your life. A Master Chief, Command Master Chief, once told me one time, Matt, there's 3 things that you need to know to be a successful military officer, to be a successful executive. You need to be on time, which is early. You need to be in the right uniform for the occasion, and you need to know the rules. Knowing the rules of life, whether they're the written rules or the unwritten rules, are the key to success. Now let's go to Europe. In Europe, Command, EUCOM, is also reevaluating the relationships with NATO, Poland, Ukraine, and Russia. All of those conflicts, all of these changing dynamics between the U.S. Europe relationship has great impact on all of us. So from an analysis standpoint, from the briefing room standpoint, it's important for us to look at what happens 30 years from now. As the military leaders, we operate on a 30-year horizon. It's 30 years for budget, 30 years for manpower, 30 years for equipment. When we look at the relationship with Europe, that is also on a 30-year timeline. It is changing every day with lots going on. Ukraine and Russia, still in the news, not going nowhere anytime soon. Lots of efforts to bring peace to the region, and every day young men and women are dying in that conflict. Let's go to Africa. In Africa, 24 years ago, in Sudan, in the Darfur region, was a lot of conflict between the Sudanese government and the rebel forces. Today, one of those leaders was just convicted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes in Darfur. So that is Africa's biggest news. In Asia, China has now reached peer status. The whole designation of near peer status for China and the Communist Party there is over. They are now, especially in Asia, officially our peers. That has huge national security implications for Americans. It has huge national security implications for our children. We have to have American children and American citizens up to speed on science, technology, engineering, and math. President Trump alluded to this and spoke directly to this several weeks ago. It has been a national security imperative for the last 30 years. We have got to get that right if we are going to maintain primacy for national security. All right, and then now let's come back again to the United States, to the homeland. A judge has ruled that National Guard deployments to the Los Angeles area are unlawful. So that, again, further complicates the military-civilian relationship that's going on inside of our own country. Many of us are very familiar with posse comitatus and other rules that apply. So we got to stay up to date Those of you who are in active duty, you got to stay current on the rules. You got to know the difference between lawful and unlawful orders. You have to know how to empower those men and women who work for you so that they maintain full faith and confidence in our national command structure. That is what has built this country, and that is what will continue to keep this country great. So there we go. Around the world in 30 seconds. Let's go to a commercial.
It's the moment in your eyes when the future becomes clear.
40 years ago, a vision was born. To break barriers, to celebrate brilliance.
The hopes of what's in reach.
From pioneers to innovators to tomorrow's dreamers, Baya has changed the landscape of STEM forever. Great minds, great people, great futures. Join us for Baya 40. Don't just watch history, be part of it. Baya, becoming everything you are.
Become everything you are.
Raising the bar is about bringing it to you all of the world's best thought leaders. That is what we do here at the Briefing Room. And as we go into 2026, we have a full calendar of admirals, generals, senior executives, entrepreneurs. But before we end 2025, as we kind of wrap up this introductory period, I want to make sure that you all know who I am. I mean, so many of you have hit me. We have over 100,000 views on some of our hits. But some people say, Matt, who are you? I mean, we see you with the hat. You know, we see you with the Marine shirt and the Navy shirt and the Army hat. Who is Matt Bowman? And so for that, I have brought my good friend and colleague and the chief operating officer of one of the world's best companies, Career Communications Group, Mrs. Quan Hurst. And she is going to interview me. So welcome, Quan, to the Briefing Room.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much, Matt Bowman. That's right. Everybody wants to know, who is this guy? We see you every event. We find you. We see the pictures. We can point out right away, there's Matt Bowman because of the cowboy hat. So tell us a little bit about you. Let's start off with just a little bit of your background.
Yeah, so I'm at the end of the day, Quan, I'm just a little Gullah Geechee boy who is trying his best to make the ancestors proud. I think that's what everyone should do. When I tell people that I'm raising the bar, my family is from the low country of South Carolina, outside of Charleston. On my mother's side, they came from one of the first free towns ever created by formerly enslaved people. It's called Lincolnville, South Carolina, outside of Somerville. And in that town, they had a community where the mayor, the storekeeper, the landowner, all of those people were Black people. And they existed in this world right outside of Somerville, one of the most affluent communities in South Carolina. And so it really shaped the way that my mother viewed the world, the way that my grandfather and my grandmother on that side viewed the world. So my grandfather was Navy. On my mother's side, he was one of the first African-American sonar techs in submarines on that side. And then my grandmother, she was, multi-generations in Lincolnville. And then on my dad's side, they come from Walterboro, which is home of the Tuskegee Airmen. So when my grandfather, who was my best friend in life, was a teenage boy, he would look up and he saw the Black officers. And so the idea of having Black military officers was ingrained on both sides from a very early age.
Wow. So you come from a military background. Not that we didn't know that, but.
Quan, I actually do. As you know, we have a farm, the family farm in Rondo, South Carolina. My father converted into a military museum. It's also a winery where we grow wines. We have a vineyard. We have an orchard. We bottle our wines, everything from seed to bottle, and then we sell there on site. So if anyone wants to have some great muscadine wines, some great elderberry wines, some great sweet wines, Bowman Vineyard and Winery, 17144 Augusta Highway. Gratuitous plug, Quan. So that shame,
Shameless plug.
shameless plug. So that's kind of who I am. I want to circle back to the Navy piece on my grandparents' side, on my mother's side, my maternal side. Charleston is a Navy town. It's joint base Charleston now, but for many, many years, that was one of the nation's most influential ports, whether it comes from the fact that over 60% of African Americans who are here in this country can trace their coming to America to the port of Charleston. So that is ground zero for Black people in America. It is Charleston. The Gullah Geechee community, the 5 counties, Colleton, that make up the Gullah Geechee nation, if you will, is all centered around Charleston and those large plantations. So if you say, Matt, where do you come from? Those are my people. That's where I come from. With regards to Roundel and Walterboro, when I met the Tuskegee Airmen, when I was in the Navy, and in about 2006, I had the opportunity to meet many of them. They were in their 70s and 80s at that time. And when I told them I was from Walterboro, I mean, it was laughs and laughs because they knew some of the same families that I grew up with. And so that is such a small world, and you never know with the people that you touch, the people that you impact, they will be forever changed. So they didn't know my grandfather. He was just a teenage boy in the field plowing a mule, looking at them fly overhead. But fast forward 60 years, and then here I am talking to them about Walterboro and tobacco and cotton and all those things. And they're like, yeah, we flew over those fields, but they had no idea the impressions they would have on my family.
Wow, that's really great. So I mean, with all of the people that you've met and the impact that they've made on your life and yours on theirs, obviously, um, can you just name just a few of some of those people who are like in your life, especially even now, that have a great impact on you?
Yeah, well, I will tell you that one of our previous guests talked about their top 5. And I look at my top 5 in phases of my life because I've always had a top 5. I would not be here today. I mean, some of you all who know me know, they go, that Matt is half wild. I would not be here today, but for influential people, yes, really, influential people in my life who have guided me. So when I was a child, my top 5 were my grandmother, my granny, my grandfather, my dad, and my mom. That was my top 5.
That's your foundation.
That's
Look
my
at that.
foundation. They built me who I am. My dad was an Army officer, and he's, one of the smartest men, maybe the smartest man I think I've ever met. He can advise you on anything and give you how the real world works. My mom is a tiger mom. Before I knew the expression, my mother is a tiger mom. She calls me every day. She called me this morning to figure out what we were going to do for this podcast. So every day of my life, my mother has called me and checked on me. So when I was like 0 to 2, that was my top 5. And then when I became a child, my top 5 was my older sister, who always believed in me, called me her smart little brother. Before anyone else told me I was smart, my sister Leah told me I was smart. My brother Nick, who's my younger brother, who was my champion, and then my baby brother Phil. And so we were kind of the core 4. Before there was a business core 4, I had a childhood core 4. And we did 11 schools in 11 years, the 4 of us. And so when you talk about overcoming adversity and pivoting and changing, the 4 of us, like I say, every year it was a different school. What does that teach you? It teaches you resilience, courage, because you have to fight every place you go.
Every place, right?
Every place, it's like, and so as soon as you know that you're going to a new location, as soon as you know that you're going to a new situation in life, you can be guaranteed of a couple of things, 3 things. 1, there is an existing order, and you as a new person have to find your place at the top of that existing order. So, we used to play King of the Mountain, and so King of the Hill. And so, listen, I'm expert. I come in there throwing blows, Quan. As soon as you get there, you got the first 3 weeks is establishing presence. The second thing is that every place is going to be different. So while you might strive to be the top at a new location, it just might work out where the kid there is the biggest, baddest, bully, smartest kid ever. And so you may have to find yourself as a number 2 or number 3. And that's okay. Just
that's true.
Raise the bar. Raise the bar. And the third
go ahead. What's the third thing? I'm waiting.
That trouble don't last always. So when you move to a place that you don't like, within 18 months, you know that you're moving someplace else. So I would say, have a bar, try to be the top of the hill. You may not make it to number 1, but number 2 or 3 is okay. And trouble don't last always. That would be my top 3 lessons from 11 schools, 11 years.
That's to our students. We're going to share that with our kids on our career day program. But you know what? I'm going to let you go ahead and get to it. And it's been fun just hearing about, especially your history, your background, and just finding out that you come from such a foundational place. That's also, inspiration to parents everywhere, because, these kinds of things, you build them that young and you support them, and you end up with, giants that change the world. So thank you, Mr. Matt Bowman. I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce the guest, because I'm excited to hear about her. I have an amazing guest today.
What about me? I should be.
You know what? You were great. You were great for 5 minutes. Thank you very much. But we're moving on. We're going to get you to introduce our guest. And would you like to go to a commercial first, and then we?
Absolutely. All
right.
Commercial, and then when we come back, my friend, Miss Diedre Windsor.
All right.
Calling all future STEM pioneers, leaders, and career champions. Join us on every second Saturday of the month for the BEA Career Day. BEA STEM Career Day is all about creating opportunities for students to venture into the world of STEM through the eyes of professionals. You'll meet mentors and presenters that will give you a sneak peek into the many options available to you in the field of STEM. Hosted by teen ambassadors, you'll find yourself among inspiring peers just like yourself that are aiming high for their future. To take part in the BEA STEM Career Day on Zoom, visit fullstemahead.us and register for the next session. Again, that's fullstemahead.us. BEA, becoming everything you are.
A world of careers unleashed. You can get it at BEA. Become everything you are.
All right, welcome back to the briefing room. Our show and my passion is about raising the bar of excellence. We do this through the Becoming Everything You Are ecosystem, which is so many professionals. I mean, we got admirals, generals, senior executives, we got thought leaders, we have entrepreneurs, and we bring them to you every week. And this week, I'm bringing to you a very, very special guest, Miss Diedre Windsor. And yes, that is how you pronounce her name. So make sure you get it right when you pronounce her name. It is Miss Windsor or Diedre. She leads in a way that is so unique. We call it leading the Windsor way. She has been in the Army. She has been in the Airborne. She was in the 82nd Airborne, one of the first women in the 82nd Airborne. She's an Army officer. She's an executive, senior executive in the federal government. And then she left all that and started her own company, the Windsor Group, which is one of the fastest growing companies in the country. They have managed hundreds of millions of dollars, and they are single-handedly responsible for the massive amounts of funds that went to farmers who've been discriminated against by U.S. Department of Agriculture. So if you watch High Horses, the Black Cowboy movie, John Boyd, myself, 10 other nonprofit organizations representing veterans and women and farmers and landowners, all of us worked for this amazing woman that we're about to bring to the show. So welcome, Miss Diedre Windsor.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hey, Diedre. How are you? Welcome to the briefing room.
Doing good. It's a busy day today.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I'm so glad that you took the time to join us. I'm going to rewind and jump right into it. The world wants to know, who is Diedre Windsor? I know you, but I want to make sure the world knows you. So real quick, tell us about your family. Tell us about Detroit. Tell us about your people.
Okay. Well, I was born in St. Louis, but raised in Detroit, and I've spent all of my childhood in Detroit from about 6 months old all the way until I joined the Army. I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. Went straight to Germany. I spent my first couple of years in the Army in Germany overseas, back when the Berlin Wall was still up. Left there, went to Fort Bragg, was in the 82nd Airborne Division, jumped out of perfectly good airplanes for a living, and then moved on and decided to become an officer. Did that in the Army, did
I'm
all
not,
of those things.
Diedre Windsor, I'm not going to let you slide over that. First of
Yeah.
all, a 17-year-old coming out of Detroit, Michigan. I know 17-year-olds who need help getting, to the bank to open up a bank account, much less going to Germany. So what gave you the courage to leave Michigan and go to Germany at such a young age?
I think really when you're growing up in the inner city, you're trying to figure out, how do I get out if there's no money for me to get out? Like, if you don't come from wealth, I don't like to say, oh, we were poor and all of that stuff. The reality is we had love. I had a great family. I grew up with my mom and my two sisters. Everything was great. But I knew that maybe college wasn't the immediate avenue, that it was somewhere down the road. And I was in ROTC in high school. And so that kind of sparked my love for the military. So through ROTC, I just decided that, okay, I'm going to join the Army. And it was the best decision I ever made. It's probably, it's not even, outside of my daughter, it's probably the number one life-changing event that really set me on the path that I'm on now today.
What were some of the lessons that you learned early on, either in Columbia, South Carolina? I don't know where you went to boot camp at, I assume Columbia.
India. I went to Indianapolis. I was at what was it? Fort Ben Harrison. I went to boot camp at Fort Dix, New Jersey. And so it's funny because I always sing the song at E13. Anyway, I was at Fort Dix, New Jersey in basic training. Then I went to I forget they call it advanced training because I was a finance soldier, and I did that at Fort Ben Harrison, Indiana, which is where DFAS is, the Defense Financial, which is where we get our retirement checks from. So went there. But just, when you're in high school and you're like, how can I get out of here? It's like, you're going to stay here and you're going to either be, there. I have friends. I love my friends in Detroit. But there's something to be said about leaving home, because I think when you leave home, you're automatically forced to do something different because you're not where everything is as it has been all your life. When you step out of the city where you grew up in, you automatically start doing things different, because really you got a whole different, sorry about that. You have a whole different, just kind of outlook when you start over somewhere new. So.
Well, we work with so many young people, K to 12, all races, all genders, getting them ready. And so I'm going to tell that to them. I'm going to share that with them on Career Day, that get away from home. Get away from home helps you grow up.
It does in the military. I think the military is really a place that forces you to grow up. Like in the military, you really, there's no time to like figure stuff out. It's like, hey, get up at 6, make your bed up, go to PT, do some push-ups. Like, what? A push what? I didn't even know what they were talking about. Then I realized, oh, wait a minute, I got to push my whole body up. Okay. It's a lot. It's like, bam, and you got to eat fast, and everything is fast, and there's no time to try to figure it out, but it really grows you up quick. Like, I wouldn't change it. I really wish every young person had to go into the military for, like, even if they just went to basic training and spent like a year. I wish that was a requirement, because it teaches you that discipline, how to be a part of a team, how to think about somebody other than yourself. So it's a really great experience.
Well, discipline, being a part of a team, how to think about people other than yourself.
Absolutely.
after you left Detroit and you went to Germany, and then you got that international experience. How did international, because so many young people have never left their state, much less left the country. Even executives, quite frankly, don't have a for it.
I'll tell you something that's funny. When you go overseas, though, it's not like you really don't feel like you're overseas because you're on base. So for me, I was in Germany and I really stayed on base, and we went out and we visited a lot of places. Then we went back to base. It's like yesterday somebody was talking about operating overseas as a business, and I always say that's something that frightens me a bit. Because I'm just used to being overseas, but it's almost like you're in America. It's like you work at the embassy. You're in the embassy, you're really still at home in your own country when you're inside the embassy, So I kind of compared the two. I never thought of it that way, but when I went to Korea later on in the military, that's when I really experienced overseas. And it wasn't even the first time. I went to Korea twice. I lived in Korea for almost 4 years. The first time I spent all my time on base. I would fly from Kunsan to Seoul and still go on base. But when I was in Korea, the second time as a commander, I had Katusa soldiers they're Korean augmentees to the United States Army. And when I tell you the experience, when you actually go out what we call on the economy overseas, when you go out on the economy, it's different when you actually have somebody to kind of teach you the experience of the local people. And we didn't have that in Germany when I was young, but when I went back overseas later, I felt that it was different. It was like the third time I had been overseas, but this time because I had soldiers who were native, Koreans, locals, and they really showed me the difference, like they took me to their concerts. One of my Katusas was like the president of the Myung Wah Chang fan club. She's like a top cello player. And we go to this concert and it was so incredible. So I got to experience it different because now I have I had Korean soldiers and they helped teach me about their birthplace. So it was pretty incredible. It was a different experience than when I was in Germany.
Listen, on the economy, that is such a powerful way to explain it. From the Navy side, when you're on an aircraft carrier, it's 5,000-6,000 people, but the reality is it's 5 acres of sovereign U.S. territory, and you do feel like you're in America until you pull into the port. So, we're going to go to commercial, but then I want you to talk about the 82nd Airborne and what is that like being a part of America's Guardian, Fayetteville, Vietnam, Murchison Roads. We're going to go to commercial, and then we'll come right back with Miss Diedre Windsor.
Awesome.
In today's rapidly changing workforce landscape, finding the right talent isn't just about filling positions. It's about building the future. But with new policies shaping how organizations approach recruitment, companies and institutions need a smarter way to connect with top STEM talent, fairly, effectively, and compliantly. That's where CCG Job Match comes in. For more than 30 years, Career Communications Group has been bridging the gap between education and industry. Job Match is our workforce development program that links employers with thousands of qualified, motivated candidates, students and professionals ready to make an impact. With Job Match, companies gain access to a broad pool of skilled applicants, engineers, technologists, innovators, while ensuring every hiring decision is based on merit. No quotas, no preferences, just opportunity and talent, matched with precision. Education partners benefit too, helping their graduates transition seamlessly into the workforce, while showcasing the strength of their academic programs to leading employers nationwide. In a world where policies may change, one thing remains constant: the need for great talent. CCG Job Match is where industries, institutions, and innovation meet. Let's build the future together. Contact us at CCG Job Match to start your partnership today.
All right, welcome back to the Briefing Room, a show where our passion is raising the bar. I have with us today Miss Diedre Windsor, one of the CEO of one of the nation's fastest growing companies. So Diedre, I'm going to ask you one question.
Okay.
one question for the audience, and that is, you've had this fantastic military career. You've been part of the 82nd Airborne. You know, everybody wants to, you're the one who told me this. Everybody wants to be hood till it's time to do hood stuff and jump out.
Right.
So when you look at all of
What,
that,
what I said, Matt, is everybody wants to be airborne until it's time to do airborne. Okay. Until it's time to 1, 2, 3 and jump out of that plane. Like even me.
that's right. That's right. All right. So you've jumped out of airplanes. You know, you've done so much. We'll put pictures up in the after show. But outside of your daughter, in business, in government, talk to us about the most impactful thing that you've done. And then once you've done that, we're going to take some questions offline. And then we're going to come back to the show and we're going to learn more about me. But tell us about your most impactful gift to the country.
I would say it's two things. Well, you know, in business, we've had the benefit of doing some pretty incredible things. But I also think in business positions you to do some pretty incredible things. So in the business, you know, we've supported some programs that have been broad ranging, impacting the entire nation. But also as a business owner, because we are bringing in revenue, that gives us an opportunity to help organizations who are really doing the yeoman's work on the ground to help folks bridge the gap between what is available from the government and what the actual need is. So when I look at these VSOs, I think they're veteran support organizations that actually help people like CODA Support Foundation, Women Veterans Interactive, Veterans Institute for Procurement, all of these organizations.
Bea.
Veterans, Bea, exactly. Yes, be everything you are. Bea is a really good one. I forget sometimes because we only meet once a year for Bea. But when you think about what Bea does, it's pretty incredible. Like we support, you know this, we support the big networking dinner that happens with the children where all the SESs and the general officers come out and actually mentor them. That's pretty incredible. They have some of the highest leaders in the nation in this room with like 600 kids in high school. Okay. And they are kids, like they are little, like you should see them. They're not like all 12th graders. They're like, I think from like eighth grade, are they from like eighth grade up? Because some of them look like they're still in elementary school, but just seeing them, they're eager to take in this information and all the people that Bea brings together. So it's an honor for us to sponsor. We sponsor the pre dinner to this big mentoring session, but it's pretty incredible because you know that these young minds are getting ready to go and just take in all types of good information from people they wouldn't generally meet, and they definitely wouldn't meet them in those numbers in one room. And
That's
so to me, that's incredible. So I'm glad you threw that in there about Bea. So we love supporting that. It's funny because there are some nonprofits that we support, but they do one thing one time a year. I know Bea does more than that, but they're like some smaller ones. Like we support some organizations that they do Christmas, Thanksgiving dinners. That's what they do. They do Thanksgiving dinners. They make sure. And this year, the CEO of that organization said, "Hey, listen." I mean, she and I talked, and I think I said, "Hey, a lot of federal workers are out of work, so generally we do like 50 dinners." And so we moved it to 100. So just being able to help all these organizations, or all the CODA Support Foundation that actually, you know, looks at, you know, veterans have an issue, they can go to the CODA Support Foundation, CODA Support Foundation, you know, they'll triage and figure out what's the immediate need. And then what is the deeper issue? What is the root cause for where the veteran is today? And how do we make sure we get them whole? So sometimes it's that, you know, a veteran may say, "I'm going to lose my house." And then you're like, "Okay, well, let's help him not lose his house." But then why are you getting ready to lose your house? "Oh, because I lost my job." Okay. So, well, how did you lose your job? "Oh, well, I have PTSD. You know what I'm saying? So we peel the onion back. We do the immediate triage, but then we figure out what is the root cause for where the veteran is today. And then the organization helps. So you got organizations like that they just do this in spades every day. This is what they do for a living, and I love it. So I love the idea of supporting. People often say, "Hey, you should start a foundation." I'm like, why? When there's so many great organizations that are already doing the work, why not help them through supporting them through volunteerism or financially to continue their mission? And I think you can spread your, you can spread that joy a little further when you do it that way.
Deirdre, how you answer that question really speaks to leading the Windsor way.
Mhm.
I know that you led the most impactful government initiative since the Civil Rights Act for Black
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
but you led with the triple bottom line, which is helping other organizations,
yeah.
helping people, a real passion and concern for people.
Yeah,
So,
we were fortunate too with that, the program you're talking about, the discrimination financial assistance program. I think it's the most impactful work we've done. I can't even imagine in the life of a business that you could run into two instances like that. Like, I feel it's like once in a lifetime opportunities, to be able to lead a program like that. And I'm glad it was us. Like, I say that often, like, but I'm glad it was us because what we did, I'm pretty sure not everybody's willing to do that, what we did. Like, it was a true boots on the ground effort. And Matt, you were a big part of that, like being the director of field operations, just making sure you were all up and down the East Coast. But just for the audience to know a little bit more about it, the Discrimination Financial Assistance Program was a program that was mandated by legislation. It was 22007 of the Inflation Reduction Act, which said here's 2.2 billion in financial assistance for farmers, ranchers, and forest landowners who had been discriminated against. And so our job was to go out and find the farmers. Find the farmers is like you have been discriminated against in USDA farm lending programs over like maybe the last 100 years. And so the we had to go out and actually find the farmers because there are some farmers that deal a lot with the Department of Agriculture, and there are a lot of farmers out there who don't deal with the government at all. And so we really had to initiate a boots on the ground effort to find the farmers. That was through communications. That was through, you just foot stomping all around. We had the entire East Coast, everything east of the Mississippi River, and just finding those farmers and ranchers. I mean, we were able to get about, I think we ended up with about the program as a whole ended up with about 58,000 applications. About 78% of those came from the East Coast, which is where we were supporting. So we're very proud of that work. About 30, I think 33,000 of the 43,000 awardees came from the East Coast. 23,000 came from Mississippi and Alabama alone. Like, Mississippi knocked it out the park with 13,000. Alabama had about 10,000. And then 10,000 more spread across the East Coast. So it was pretty incredible. The most incredible thing is, man, changing people's lives. I mean, because this is a thing. When we took on this program, what we learned quickly is that people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so there were people who didn't even apply because they've seen programs like this come and go and never come to fruition. So us being able to go in there, do the work, get them to the finish line. We had to find the farmers. We had to help them complete this 40-page application. Yes, 40 pages of an application. We did that. Okay. And we got them to apply. We didn't force people. We just had to have people sit down and say, just look at your history. And some people have been discriminated against, and sometimes you don't know you've been discriminated against. I'm a perfect example. One day I went to the mail, and this was years ago, and I got a check. I got a letter from the bank that said your second mortgage is forgiven because you were discriminated against. Now, me, I'm in the bank, like, I'm buying this house, I'm doing great, but clearly somewhere along the line my interest rate was way higher. I got an interest rate I thought it was normal. But what I learned after the banks were sued by the government is that, yeah, I was in this demographic where they were saying, give these people a different interest rate. I didn't know that. So, and that's another thing with the farmers. Most of them are like, well, yeah, this doesn't impact me. Well, let's talk about your story a little bit. And then a lot of them realize, oh, wait a minute, that did impact me, you know? So it's unfortunate. I think it was a good step forward. I'm very happy that we were able to get that executed in August of 2024. And it was all farmers. It was not, you know, often people say it was a black farmer thing. It wasn't. It was all farmers. And matter of fact, I'm pretty sure if you FOIA, you can probably find out how many people, like, I think people fail to realize that we're all impacted by so many things, and you just assume it's just one demographic that is not. And I think people are learning now. Like, women are learning, oh yeah, you're part of this group. Veterans are learning, and it doesn't matter what color you're part of this group. And so I think everything that's happened probably in the last 8 to 10 months has revealed that more to people. They revealed things that people should have known, but they didn't know. But now they know. So
Now they know.
yeah,
Now they know.
yeah,
You know, when you talk about now they know, leadership matters.
yes.
When I first met you, you know, you were writing a book. I think you still have a book out there.
It's on
Tell us about
Amazon.
The Windsor Way, because that really captures who you are. So tell us
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. So the book Leadership Begins with Hello, which is really talks about practical principles of leadership. It really just talks about the importance of treating people with dignity and respect. But I often say that we live in a world where we spend a billions of dollars in the training and development and leadership industry, and we still forget the basics. We still forget that, you know, hello, please, and thank you reign supreme. So we have all of these people with all of this knowledge and technical knowledge, but they don't understand the human dynamic and how important that is to leadership. Just being able to have a conversation with somebody that works with you or works for you, you know, understand that I used to say, you got to understand if you got to know whether or not Sasha is the daughter or is Sasha the dog. You got to know that about the people that work for you. You know, I always say if everybody in the chain from the leader down is doing their job, then it makes things a lot easier. But sometimes you have people in the chain who totally don't understand the people dynamic, and it messes up the whole chain, you know?
Yeah, you know, having worked with you and having worked for you, and then having been a friend and a mentor and a mentee, I think we've gone every human
Yes.
possible combination of dynamic. You have a gift, an anointing in picking the right people for the right job. And so many leaders struggle with that. So what advice would you give to CEOs and entrepreneurs on how do you pick the right people to do the right job?
Um, It's funny because I do think sometimes people know who the right person to pick is, but for different reasons they won't pick them. I have people that I've hired multiple times that I know other people skip over because they're looking for a certain packaging or, you know, like sometimes people ask me about what I have everybody at our headquarters is women. That's not by design. It just happened that way. We interview people, I hire people I trust. And you can even get away with the technical. You can lack a little bit on the technical side if I trust you. Okay. But if I don't trust you, then that makes it harder. Because to me, that is probably the key is having people that you trust, and not just trust to be loyal to you, but trust to do the right things in the absence of guidance. And I don't think that's what we're seeing now on the national stage. You know, it's not about loyalty to me. It's about loyalty to the mission. Do the right things always. If I got an HR person, I need to make sure that person is not worried about, well, what about me when 10 people get a raise and they don't, you know, or the financial person who can see your books. Oh yeah, all of this, you know what I'm saying? You need people that you can just trust to always do what's right. So and take a chance. Get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes people won't hire a person because like, oh, that person is, you know, they can be snappy or they can be this or that. Sometimes people don't hire the right folks because they don't know how to deal. They want everybody to be like them and they want it to be easy and soft. And it's not. You're going to sometimes hire people that grate on your nerves. Like I mute the phone sometimes and I'm screaming, you know. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's you, but most people do feel like, oh, I need to hire somebody that looks like me, that sounds like me, that thinks like me. Good luck with that. Because you're not gonna find that. You're just not gonna find that. You gotta find people that it's like Admiral Watson. I don't
I
know if
did.
you know. Yeah,
I
he
did.
always says people do business with people they know, like, and trust. It's the same with hiring people. I know somebody I know, like, and I trust, but the trust comes from knowing you. If I know you, I'm like, I know what this person will do. You know, I know this person here. I mean, I have people that I work with. I'm like kind of bull in the china shop. But guess what? I would hire the same person 10 times because I know what they do. And I
Right.
know what the end result is going to be every time I hire that person. You know, I already know. So, yeah.
And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you build $100 million plus company. So
Yeah.
these words of
We're not
wisdom.
$100 million yet.
Not yet. On your
Yeah,
way.
no, no,
On
no.
your way.
We're on our way though. We're on our way.
On your way. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna go to a commercial, and then Deirdre, thank you for coming up on the show. As we do this end of year, there's a play I was in. It was called "A Raisin in the Sun," and they
Mhm.
say the life of an executive is hell. It's
Yeah.
I don't even know how many meetings you've had this morning
A
before.
lot.
A lot.
Which is why I was trying to cancel this.
Listen, the show must go on. You know.
And Matt, you're like, no, we will have this show. The show will go on. So yeah. So here I am.
Raising the bar, raising the bar. All
Yeah.
right, we're gonna go to a commercial and then we'll come back. I want to give you a chance to do some final words to the audience, and then I'm gonna come back with commentary.
Okay.
It's the moment in your eyes when the future becomes clear.
40 years ago, a vision was born to break barriers, to celebrate brilliance.
The hopes of what's in reach.
From pioneers to innovators to tomorrow's dreamers, Bea has changed the landscape of STEM forever. Great minds, great people, great futures. Join us for Bea 40. Don't just watch history, be part of it. Bea, becoming everything you are.
Become everything you are.
All right, welcome back to the briefing room. Our show today, Leading the Windsor Way, brought to you by myself and with our special guest, Miss Diedre Windsor, the beautiful, the brilliant, the talented. So what are some final words that you would have for CEOs and other entrepreneurs?
I would just say believe in yourself. Only you know what you're capable of. And don't let other people dictate the direction you take. Um, people will what's the word I'm looking for? They will put their fears and doubts about themselves on you. So you just have to do it the way you do it. Yesterday, I had an opportunity. Last night, I was speaking with about 50 entrepreneurs in this Veterans Institute for Procurement program. And some of the people came up afterwards and they said, thank you for making it. You know, sometimes people make everything so strategic. Yeah, you need to build a big business plan. You need to do all these things. Really, when you're starting out, you're brand new and you're trying to break in there and you're trying to bring in those first couple of dollars of revenue. It's like, put on paper, what is it you're trying to do? What is it you're trying to sell to people? Have you done that thing before? If you did it before, let us know how you did it and how it worked out. What was the result? It's very basic things that you can do to get your business up and running. Sometimes we get caught up in, sometimes I hear people say, well, I'm trying to get my business set up. Like, you need an EIN, you go to EIN.gov. You go to IRS.gov and say, get EIN. It's free. You know, you want to register your business, you go downtown to the Secretary of State. That's what we used to call it when we were kids, the Secretary of State. But, you know, you can Google, oh, where do I go to get a business license in Maryland? It'll tell you the address. I mean, back when I did it, I just went down there in person. They hand wrote everything. I didn't have so my articles of organization is like a handwritten 2-page document. You understand? So don't it's like, don't make things more difficult than they actually are. If you want to do the thing, go and do the thing. It's some simple steps to get started. As you grow, you will formalize things more. As I've grown, yes, I have a more elaborate business plan now. I have I have so many processes in place. We're very structured now, but we didn't start out that way. I mean, it was me on my couch every day with my computer looking up stuff, you know? I love telling people the story about our first contract was me as a secretary for a GS-15 after having left a SES job at an organization. I was a deputy director for management. Then I was the executive assistant to the president of one of the organizations, one of the federal organizations. So you see what I'm saying? Like, you got to roll your sleeves up, believe in yourself, and do it. I hate to steal Nike's motto, but it is the best motto that ever was. Well, like, you just got to go and do the thing, whatever the thing is. But you have to believe that you can do it. You don't need, you need as you, and you got to be able to convince other people that you can do it. And so yeah, just go out and do that thing that you want. And sometimes you can't start immediately. I've had an EIN since 2010. Since I retired from the military, I got an EIN. I retired in 2009, got the EIN, was not psychologically ready to go and do work. And so I worked for the government. Until 2014, I went and I got registered in the state of Maryland. Still was not psychologically ready. It was 2016 at the end of the year that I finally said, you know what? It's time for me to step off that cliff. And I did that, and it was hard starting out. And most things worth having are not easy. And so, but I did it. You got to do it, and that's the thing. It's like sometimes people say like they want to write a book or they want to release a song. It's very hard for people to take that next step. I wrote a book, and sometimes I'll say, like, I was talking to a gentleman once, General Walker once, and I was telling him, I said, "Oh, it took me 3 years to write this book, and it's 45 pages." And he said something I'll never forget. He said, "But you got a book; it's published, and I can go to Amazon right here and buy it." And so does it? Does it need edited right now? Yes. Are there things that I want to do to make it better? Yes. But 10 years ago, I pushed the button, I published a book, and it's out there for the world. You got to be confident, and you got to not worry about the people that will critique you to the nth degree. And that doesn't have anything to do with you. That's more to do with them. So do the thing that you want to do. Do those things that you find joy in. For me, having this business has been great. I am very exhausted. But I also know this business, it opens the door up to help so many people, because you think about it, we've employed over at least 260 people in the last 8 years that we've been in business. We have subcontracted work to over 50 companies, and if you're counting the 1099s, we're going to say 100. That's putting revenue back into people's businesses. We have given away over $750,000. Some of that is charity, some of that is through sponsorships. It's all, to me, is one bucket, but for tax reasons, you got it in two buckets. But we have supported organizations to the tune of, that's $750,000 from a small company that we've helped, that we put back into the economy. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We have achieved over $90 million in revenue. And so that right there opened the door for the other things. Like, we've employed great people. We pay a living wage. The thing that makes me happy is like when our employees buy homes. It's like, wow, we pay. One of my employees bought the home that her parents were raising. It was her grandparents' home that was back on the market. She was able to buy it. And so that means so much to me. So to me, that's what having the business has done. It's allowed us to help in all those different ways, So
Well, Miss Windsor, I'm gonna tell you that you cannot buy a dinner in Gainesville because you changed Gainesville, Florida. You cannot buy a dinner or a drink anywhere in the state of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, really throughout this nation. If you go someplace and there's a farmer, a rancher, or a producer in there, they recognize the work you do. So I thank you. I celebrate you. Leading the Windsor way, folks. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe. Diedre, thank you. Thank you, my friend. You know, you always pull the trigger. You always show up. You always get it done.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I look forward to coming on again at some point with more ahead planning time.
Absolutely.
so we can really cut up.
That's right. We're gonna show out the next time.
And I'll have a flag background as well.
Hey, you know, listen.
I love it. I love it. I love it, Matt. Matt, you know what? I meant to wear my cowboy hat. Dang it.
I know. Listen, but you look great, and we did a great show. So
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead with final remarks. Thank you again, Diedre Windsor.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Bye, everybody.
All right. So I don't know. I got my sword, and I want to tell you about the Bea Legacy Archives. Okay. This is a fantastic way for you to access 40 years of content. I want you to get your phones out, take a picture of this screen. We'll have a QR code so you can access the archives. All the things that we do, we capture the data. We show you information for the last 40 years and also information for this next upcoming Becoming Everything You Are conference. February 13th through 15th in Baltimore, Maryland. If you are a government agency, President Trump supports this, so don't be afraid of submitting your travel. It will be approved. If you are an entity, a government contractor, now is the time for you to come to Becoming Everything You Are. Find your next employee, find your next business partner. This ecosystem of Bea has over 50,000 professionals over 40 years. Click on that QR code, take a picture of it. I wish I had my phone here handy. I would take a picture of it. But that's what Becoming Everything You Are is about. You know, this show is about raising the bar. I think I'm going to use this sword now as our official kind of mascot of the show, because every officer has a sword that they use. It is from the samurai to all warriors. The sword represents strength, courage, honor, courage, and commitment. So thank you again for joining the show. You know, so many of you who watch this show have yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a great way for you to support us. If you're a company and you want to be a sponsor and get your executive on video to speak to audiences of active duty, retired military, CEOs, and other thought leaders, please hit us up at ccgmag.org. You can hit me up online or in LinkedIn. Again, The Briefing Room, a show about raising the standards, a show for warriors by warriors. We'll see you next week.
What if you could build your own city? A place where every child can find nurturing people to help them achieve their full potential. A place where every adult can access job training support. Where health education is abundant. Where social justice ruled the land. A place without limitations. Welcome. You have arrived at STEM City, USA. It is what every city should be. A safe and trusted community where you find people and resources to help you become everything you are and beyond. STEM City is unlike anything you have ever experienced. It is a digital twin of the world around you, only better. STEM City is about energy and soul renewal. It is more than a digital world. You can almost feel the power of live cultural events, music, and theater. STEM City promises a better future for children with caring mentors and hands-on activities with dedicated tutors to support our youth. STEM City is your passport to a healthy lifestyle with weekly events addressing our community's many issues. STEM City is your financial well-being with helpful information on wealth management, career advancement, job training, and so much more. STEM City is the community you deserve. It is the city where your dreams can come true. STEM City USA, a place in the sky that is accessible to all who reach for the stars.